Let me ask you a question. Who really controls and ultimately owns the world? I want you to consider it's not governments, it's not billionaires, and the answer, it might just shock you. There is a company that manages over $11.6 trillion. In fact, let's put that number up on the screen just to help you see how big of a number this is. That's more than half of the US GDP. They have a massive stake in nearly every major corporation that you interact with, likely on a daily basis. Whether it's Amazon, Apple, Google, Tesla, even your local grocery store is likely influenced by this single company. And here's the crazy part about this company. What they're using to influence all of these other companies is not even their money. This company is called BlackRock, and they don't just play the game, they own the entire board. BlackRock has been called the most powerful company that you've never heard of. They influence markets, control massive portions of the stock market, and they even advise world governments. But how much power do they really have? And is this much power consolidated in one single company? Is it a problem? That's what we're gonna be tackling in today's video. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you'll never look at the economy the same way again, because you'll know that the decisions that you just thought were natural or influenced by governments or politicians are actually likely influenced by a much deeper undercurrent of a single company, unified behind a single vision. Now, first off, I want to welcome you to the Wealth Outside of Wall Street YouTube channel, where we break down the truth about money, wealth building, and ultimately the hidden forces controlling the financial system. If you're new here, we challenge traditional financial advice. We expose the myths of Wall Street, and we help you build real financial freedom. So if that's what you're after, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because we're just getting started. So with that being said, let's dive in and let's discuss the company BlackRock, the most powerful company that you've likely never even heard of. Now, first off, BlackRock, they're not a bank. They're not a hedge fund. They're actually an asset manager, and they're the biggest one on the planet. In simple terms, an asset manager doesn't invest their own money. They invest other people's money via the form of pension funds, 401ks, university endowments, insurance company reserves, and so much more. And because they manage so much wealth, they own a stake in 88% of the S&P 500 firms. That's 88% of all companies in the S&P 500. BlackRock is influencing in some way or some level those companies. Now, they ultimately claim that they're just a passive investor, meaning they don't actively control the companies that they own. And it might sound harmless, right? But here's where things get a little bit interesting. BlackRock's power exploded because of something called index funds. Instead of buying individual stocks, these funds let investors buy a little teeny piece of everything. It's like buying all the horses in the race instead of just one. This idea was actually pioneered back in the 1970s, but it's become so popular that now the big three asset managers, BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street, collectively control about 25% of all stocks in the entire stock markets. And here's the problem with that. When you own a little bit of everything, you have influence over everything. Imagine you're on the board of directors for Apple, Tesla, and Ford all at the same time. Would you really let them compete freely, meaning there's going to be winners and there's going to be losers? Or, on the other hand, if you own them all, would you just make sure that they all make money? That's what's happening right now. BlackRock has a hidden influence on corporate America without ever owning a majority stake in anything. They influence political choices, they influence company direction, they influence ESG standards, they influence all kinds of things because of their widespread ownership in all of the companies on the S&P 500. And there's a concept in finance that's called universal ownership. It means that when you own a little bit of everything, you don't care about any one company winning. You just care that the whole system makes money. That's exactly what BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street do. For example, let's look at Amazon. Jeff Bezos only owns 9% of Amazon stock. The big three fund managers, they own 16% of Amazon, which means they have more voting power than the guy who started the company, the one that everyone points the finger at and says Jeff Bezos a billionaire. It's actually the big three asset managers that own more of Amazon than Jeff Bezos does. In theory, this should be a good thing. Asset managers might be pushing companies to think long term and to act responsibly. But in practice, it's not that simple. Let me expose the pyramid scheme of voting power inside of publicly traded companies. When you put money into a pension fund, you don't get to decide where that money is invested. The pension fund manager does. But when the pension fund manager, turns around and puts money into BlackRock's index funds, they sign away all of their voting rights. So by the time you trace it all the way back, your money is being used to vote on major corporate decisions, but you or your pension fund manager in this example don't have any say on the voting rights and the direction of the company. Guess who does? It's the Larry Finks of the world who use the wealth that they control to influence political decisions, lobbying efforts, and corporate behavior. BlackRock's influence isn't just financial, it's political. They fund elections, they lobby policymakers, and they shape regulations in ways that benefit them. BlackRock is one of the main drivers behind ESG policies that have reshaped entire industries, deciding which companies succeed and which ones struggle, all by claiming to be passive investors. This is why people in the know, people who talk about money, understand that BlackRock literally controls the world. They don't need to own a majority of any corporation because they control the votes that actually matter. So here's the real question that I hope that this video opened up for you. Is BlackRock a hidden empire quietly shaping the economy? Or are they just riding the wave of American capitalism? I'll let you decide, but one thing is for sure, they're not going away anytime soon. And the real focus of this channel is to give you actionable solutions to use your money as a tool to buy your freedom back. The freedom to dictate the terms of your own life, to wake up each day and to freely declare, I can do whatever I want today. So let me ask you another powerful question. Can you truly be free if you don't control your money? Now, I'm not saying you can't make money when you invest in index funds managed by a company like BlackRock. In fact, the reality of it is you will likely profit off of the wave of American capitalism that BlackRock is so deeply embedded in. But the real question is, do you have any control over that outcome? Can you predict, impact, and navigate the ups and downs of the markets? And I want you to consider this. Obviously, the answer is no. You're not in control, BlackRock is. And at the end of the day, BlackRock is driving an agenda that you may or may not align with. But I want you to consider this. Without control, can you confidently plan your financial future? Can you retire knowing that your income is secure? That even if markets dive, if BlackRock takes companies in a direction that you don't want and profits decline, is this going to impact you? This channel is focused on empowering you with those principles so that you can achieve financial freedom in 10 years or less. And while you might make money in index funds managed by companies like BlackRock, you're violating a fundamental investing principle, which is control. Control is at the root of freedom. You have to have a fundamental understanding when it comes to money, how to make it, how to keep it, and how to systematically grow it. But more than that, you have to have enough control over an investment to be able to impact its outcome. If you don't, my friends, you are not actually investing. You're speculating. You're speculating hoping that BlackRock will act in your best interest, that they'll influence companies to be profitable, and that all of that influence, which you have no control over, will somehow turn into a profit for you that will produce a comfortable and confident retirement. This is not control. This is gambling. And while gambling might work, there are always times in gambling where you'll lose. So my friends, control is a foundation of freedom. If you want to be more free, if you want more control, I'm going to invite you to consider the passive income investment system. This system is the system that we help people just like you understand to take control over their money, to have a fundamental framework, a principle-based approach to making money, to keeping money, and more importantly, to invest it in assets that they control. They then use that control to achieve financial freedom in 10 years or less. If you want to learn more about that control, I'm going to invite you to look at the link inside of the comments to learn more about the passive income machine. Now, if you found this video valuable, I want you to do two things. Number one, drop a comment down below. Tell me what you think about BlackRock. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it just the way the world is? Give me your thoughts. And number two, smash that like button so more people just like you can see videos like this. And if you want to stay connected with me and all the deep dives that we're doing into personal finance, subscribe to the channel right now. My friends, I'll see you on the next video where we'll continue the conversation about taking control of your money and your life.
Fearless.